Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Bui if you're new here, and if you're a returning subscriber, hi, what's up? Welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing a topic that is very close to my heart, which is mental health, right? And in particular, we're going to be discussing neurodiversity. And before you start panicking, I'm going to explain what that is, what it means, because we're going to be talking about what it means to be neurodivergent. And yeah, just stay tuned. Give this video a like. I know some of you guys like to give me a thumbs up before watching the video, so give this video a like, and then when you're done watching the video, leave a comment down below of what you thought of the video, what you'd like to see in my next video, or any ideas. If you have any, I would highly appreciate your feedback. Okay guys, so without rambling too much, let me get straight into the video. Okay, so first things first, what is neurodiversity? So I like to look at neurodiversity as an umbrella, and it is a word used to explain the unique ways in which people's brains work. Okay, just take note of that. All right. So when you are neurodivergent, it means that you have a brain that works differently from the average or neurotypical person. So being neurodivergent doesn't necessarily mean that you are somebody who is like, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are like autistic. You may be, and also another thing is that like there are different levels. Like you can have a condition but it may be very mild, but you are still neurodivergent. But it doesn't mean you are like full-blown neurodivergent. You can be neurodivergent, but it can be a mild condition. For example, there are people who have, actually this video is going to be mainly on that condition alone. I'm not going to talk about all different types of things under being neurodivergent. But okay, some of the conditions that are common among people who describe themselves as being neurodivergent are autism spectrum disorder, and then there's also attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, popularly or commonly known as ADHD. So in this video, I'm mainly going to be focused on ADHD, which I have just explained to be attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So what does ADHD mean? If maybe you haven't come across the term ADHD, what does it mean? I'll tell you just now. It means first things first, it is a medical condition, right? And a person with ADHD has differences in brain development and brain activity that affect attention, the ability to sit still, and self-control. ADHD can affect a child at school, at home, and in friendship. So usually ADHD starts when you're young, right? You're born with ADHD. And then when you get older, it can manifest in different ways. It can manifest as anxiety. It can turn into depression because you don't understand what's going on with you or why you behave a certain way, right? So that's like adult ADHD. You don't just start having ADHD as an adult. Usually it starts when you're very young, when you're a child, okay? So people with ADHD tend to experience an ongoing pattern of the following types of symptoms. Inattention, which is having a difficulty paying attention. Hyperactivity, which is having too much energy or moving and talking too much. Impulsivity, which is acting without thinking or having difficulty with self-control. Okay, and then I'm actually going to give you guys more symptoms. And also guys, I'm sharing this information just to bring mental health awareness. I'm not necessarily saying you should sit there and self-diagnose yourself. That's not a good idea either. But if you do see some of these symptoms, you can go talk to a psychologist and see what can help you, like what you can use to help you or treat your ADHD so that you can live life but knowing how to manage certain things about yourself. Okay, so other symptoms of ADHD can be impulsiveness, disorganization, and problems prioritizing, poor time management skills, problems focusing on a task, low frustration tolerance. I feel like low frustration tolerance can manifest as not necessarily knowing how to deal with a frustrating situation. When something is really, really frustrating you, you tend to you can't handle it, okay? you can't handle it, like it just becomes too overwhelming for you. And then another thing is being unable to sit still, especially in calm or quiet surroundings. You're unable to just sit still, and then constantly fidgeting or moving around. Another one is being unable to concentrate on tasks. So you start one thing, then you start another thing, then you forget you started that one thing, then you start another thing, then you forget you started that other thing before you started that other. Like, that's what being unable to concentrate on tasks is. And then excessive physical movement, like you genuinely can't sit still, like you feel bothered when you have to sit still. Excessive talking, like you just keep talking and talking and talking, like you can't keep quiet. Please don't ask me why I'm laughing. And then another one is being unable to wait your turn. So if ever maybe you're in a queue and it's too long and you feel like you can't wait, you probably are neurodivergent. You probably have ADHD. Or if you're in traffic and the traffic light just went off, you're already honking at the person, you probably have ADHD. Or if you're walking and someone's walking in front of you and you feel like they're walking slow, you probably have ADHD. Another one is acting without thinking, which I think falls under impulsiveness. Another one is interrupting conversations. So if you're somebody who tends to like interject when somebody's talking and then you talk and you're interrupting that conversation, you probably have ADHD. The reason I'm laughing at majority of these symptoms is because I actually I can relate. I can relate in the sense that I would like to believe I have mild ADHD. I have mild ADHD because I can relate to most of these symptoms. If it was like full-blown ADHD, I probably would have poor time management skills, disorganization and stuff like that, problems focusing on a task. I don't necessarily have problems focusing on a task because I'm quite good at multitasking, like doing more than one thing at once. But I kind of consider that slightly ADHD because it's like when I'm doing one thing, I want to be making sure that I'm doing something else as well. Like if I'm cooking, I want to make sure that, okay, I need to do something. I need to be productive. I need to create content. I need to maybe wash the dishes while I'm cooking. Or I need to do something, sweep. If I see something wrong in the kitchen, I want to make sure while I'm cooking, I'm doing that as well. So I think it's giving mild ADHD vibes. And another thing is the interrupting conversations. I've noticed that I actually tend to do that a lot. Like not out of being rude, but because it's like I process the information and then I want to respond immediately. Like I just want to like, it's not how do I explain it? Like, yeah, that interrupting conversations thing. Yeah, it definitely, that is me. I try to control it. I try not to be rude sometimes. Like, it's just, I always just, like, I process things fast, so I just want to respond then and there. But I try to be a good listener. I really do, but it's not easy. And then, yeah, the being unable to wait that turn. I've noticed that with myself. I don't like queues. I don't like waiting. It irks me. I'd rather get to a place knowing that I'm not going to find a queue, getting assistance and leaving. Because if there's a queue, I'm gonna feel so agitated. Like, sometimes I wonder how people can wait in really, really long queues, because I'm just like, how? Like, how do you manage to do that? I can't do it personally. And then the excessive talking also. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can relate to that as well. By the way, guys, I don't want this to be a long video. I just thought it would be something interesting to share, because a lot of people are actually neurodivergent and they have no idea. But like I said, don't self-diagnose. Go and make sure you go and see a psychologist, and see how they can help you, see how they can assist you as well. But I will also share what I think you can do to manage your ADHD, like ways in which you can manage your ADHD. I will share them in this video as well, so just stay tuned. So what do you do if you have ADHD? Here are a few ways in which you can adjust your daily routine if you've noticed that you're somebody who has ADHD. Okay, the first thing is regular exercise. So apparently regular exercise can help reduce ADHD symptoms, because you're being active, you're getting your when you exercise, you release dopamine. So exercise can help relieve some of those ADHD symptoms, especially the the excessive movement, the fidgetiness and all that. Regular exercise can help with that. The next one can be balanced diet. So when you have a balanced diet, and you're eating well, you're getting the required nutrients that you need to keep your hormones balanced, because isn't it your brain is what produces those hormones. So when your diet is balanced, you can then have more balanced hormones, leading to more steady emotions, right? And then number 3 is adequate sleep. Adequate sleep, I feel, goes hand in hand with like your balanced diet and regular exercise. You need sleep in order for your hormones to be balanced. You need adequate sleep for your body to be well rested as well, so that you're not feeling agitated, you're not feeling hyper, you get me? Or you're, because with ADHD you can either feel very hyperactive at a certain time, and then you can really just feel numb. Like, you can literally feel like you can't do anything, you just feel like a vegetable. And I feel like, yeah, if you just try and get adequate sleep, and by adequate sleep, guys, I mean like at least 6 to 7 hours, at least. The recommended sleep hours is, I think, 8 hours, but I think if you can get at least 6 hours, it can really help alleviate those ADHD symptoms, if you do have ADHD, that is. But even if you don't have ADHD, adequate sleep is very important. It's a very crucial thing to do just as a human being. Get some rest, and you'll probably feel better. You'll feel better in everything that you do. Another one is stress management. So Stress management, I think you can do that by going to your psychologist, sitting down, talking to them, finding ways in which you can handle overwhelming situations instead of trying to figure it out by yourself. Or with stress management, you can do meditation, you can do guided meditation, you can do it yourself. Just lie down, put on some headphones, get on YouTube or Spotify or iTunes or whatever, listen to a guided meditation. It'll help you. Or if you're somebody who's spiritual, you can pray. Prayer is a form of meditation. So when you pray, you're releasing all those emotions, you're releasing all those suppressed feelings, and you're getting it out there. It's helping with your stress. Okay, it can help you control your ADHD. Another thing that can help, that you can do to improve your ADHD, is by having time management and organization. Okay, because if you have ADHD, chances are you struggle with time management, you struggle with organization. So sit down maybe every week, plan out your week, have activities that you do each day, even if it's not like huge activities, even if it's as simple as something as cleaning your room. Tell yourself, like, write that day, write like Monday to Sunday, and then say Monday, and then put a time. It'll help you put a time. Don't just say Monday and then say cleaning your room. Put a time when you know that, okay, 11 a.m. you have to clean your room, 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock you have to cook lunch. It helps you, like when you see it on paper, you feel more at ease, because you can visualize what you need to do, instead of feeling like, oh my god, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do that. Calm down, write it down, and you'll feel better. Trust me, it has helped some of us. And then another thing that can help is limiting your time screen and distractions. Most people with ADHD find themselves spending way too much time on social media, and I don't mean being on social media because you're posting your content, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're posting your stories, but I mean like spending excessive time on social media, like you're watching stories like nobody's business, like you're getting paid for watching those stories. You're just story after story after story after story, and then you go to the next app, you open those stories, you scroll on your timeline, and an hour can pass by while you're still doing that. So limiting the time screen and distractions is something that can work for you, because it's something that people with ADHD tend to do a lot. It's like a coping mechanism. If you don't want to start a certain task that you know you need to do, what you do, you just open your TikTok and you scroll for an hour. Before you know it, it's been 2 or 3 hours, and you're just like, how did we get here? So limit your screen time. I think they actually on your phone, if you go to settings, there should be somewhere where you can actually limit your screen time, or where you can manage your screen time, like how much time you're spending on certain apps. So if you're somebody who struggles with that, use those settings. Make sure you monitor how much time you're spending on certain social media platforms, so that you are not distracting yourself and just being self-destructive. And then another thing, which I think is the most important thing actually, is having social support, because honestly speaking, I feel like in my society, I personally feel like we take mental health issues so lightly. Like if a child says, oh, I'm depressed, oh, I have anxiety, like we just feel like, this is just some Gen Z stuff, like everybody's depressed, everybody has anxiety. We don't take it that seriously, like, because I personally feel like most mental health issues were just not talked about back in the days. Like everything was just swept under the rug, and that's why we actually even have people who are like much older than us who have who may be neurodivergent, but it just wasn't, they just never knew how to deal with it, and it was just never addressed. So it ends up being something that is like generational. And the thing is that it's up to us to like break that cycle of things just not being addressed, things just not being discussed, especially that have to do with mental health issues, because at the end of the day we want to be in a place whereby you can be neurodivergent but still be somebody who can what you call thrive in society, or who can know how to deal with those issues, instead of suppressing the fact that you are somebody who has ADHD and not knowing how to live your life, or not knowing how to how to cope with it as well. Because I think coping with certain things like ADHD is something that can maybe be the hardest part of it, because it's like, I don't know what's going on, or you just find yourself feeling very anxious, just feeling like you have anxiety or having social anxiety. People who are neurodivergent also tend to be very socially awkward, or just don't like being in crowds, because that's just how they are. It's not like they just don't like it. It irritates them. People with neurodivergent who are neurodivergent also tend to be very picky when it comes to what they eat, how they eat, or sounds. They're very sensitive to sounds, like chewing sounds. They're also very sensitive to touch. They're touch sensitive. Like, they don't like the feeling of wet things. For example, if you wash the dishes and that feeling of the wet food highly irritates you, chances are you're probably neurodivergent. I know you guys are going to be like, so like, is everybody neurodivergent? No, that's why I said also there are different levels. You can be mildly neurodivergent, or like fully neurodivergent. So just like I said, talk to somebody, find out where you fall, which category you fall in, whether it's ADHD, ADD, autism. Just find out where you fall, and then figure out, what can best assist you. I personally feel like you don't have to necessarily take anxiety pills if maybe you have mild ADHD. You can just do one of the things that I suggested, that you can adjust to your daily routine, and you could feel better, trust me. Oh, before I close this video as well, I wanted to discuss another form of treatment for ADHD, or actually quite a range of problems, and it's called CBT. So CBT stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, and it is a form of psychological treatment that has been demonstrated to be effective for a range of problems, including depression, anxiety disorders, alcohol and drug use problems, marital problems, eating disorders, and severe mental illness. Numerous research studies suggest that CBT leads to significant improvement in functioning and quality of life. In many studies, CBT has been demonstrated to be as effective as, or more effective than, other forms of psychological therapy or psychiatric medications. Oh, and then it says, it is important to emphasize that advances in CBT have been made on the basis of both research and clinical practice. Indeed, CBT is an approach for which there is ample scientific evidence that the methods that have been developed actually produce change. In this manner, CBT differs from many other forms of psychological treatment. CBT is based on several core principles, including: number one, psychological problems are based in part or faulty or unhelpful ways of thinking. That's where the problem starts, in the mind. Okay? And then number 2, psychological problems are based in part on learned patterns of unhelpful behavior. And then number 3, people suffering from psychological problems can learn better ways of coping with them, thereby relieving their symptoms and becoming more effective in their lives. So CBT treatment usually involves efforts to change thinking patterns. That's why it's called cognitive behavioral therapy. It's all about changing your mindset, your things that you have now made norms but are not actually helping you. They're just making the situation bearable, but you're not dealing with the root cause. It's just like a coping mechanism, but and then these strategies might include number 1, learning to recognize one's distortions in thinking that are creating problems, and then to reevaluate them in light of reality. So for example, let's say you're a smoker and you feel like if you don't smoke, you're not gonna get through your day, or your day is just not gonna be smooth, or you use smoking to manage your stress. With CBT, for example, you'll sit down and then you'll realize that, okay, so smoking, I've created all these distortions, and I've told myself that this is helping me, but in actual fact it's actually creating another problem for you, because now you have a smoking addiction. You're increasing your chances of getting lung cancer, blah 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 blah. So with CBT basically you are undoing certain thinking. You're undoing certain thinking patterns that you have created that may actually be distortions. Okay. And then another one is gaining a better understanding of the behavior and motivation of others. Okay. And then another one is using problem solving skills to cope with difficult situations. So when you use the cognitive behavioral therapy method, you start to learn your triggers, and you start to know what to do when you have those triggers. And and then another one is learning to develop a greater sense of confidence in one's own abilities. So I think that's about that on CBT. I just wanted to share this information because it can be very helpful to know some of these things and to know where to start if maybe you're trying to manage your ADHD, or your from this video you can now pinpoint certain attributes about yourself that, like, okay, you can tell that, okay, this is probably because I'm neurodivergent. Like, some things, it's not necessarily that it's your character, it's because you're unaware that you have an underlying condition. I don't really like to call it a condition though, because if you're neurodivergent, it's just the way your brain works, it's the way your brain functions, and most of the time people tend to overlook certain things like that. People tend to feel like, well, that's just how I am. No, it's because your brain is wired that way. Okay. So yeah guys, this was just a quick little informative video about ADHD and maybe you can like check if maybe you're neurodivergent as well, so that you can deal with it while there's still, because it gets worse. The older you get, it keeps getting worse. Learn how to manage your ADHD. And anyways guys, I hope you guys did find this video very informative. I hope you enjoyed this video. I do have a podcast whereby I discuss all things mental health. It's called, it's available on Spotify. It's Bui's Therapy Corner. I'll put it somewhere here. I haven't really been, uploading much there, but I just thought I'd share this YouTube video to bring awareness on certain mental health issues like that. I usually do discuss things of this nature on that podcast, but I think I will be merging certain topics that I discuss on my podcast and bringing them here on YouTube, because why not? I mean why not? It is my YouTube channel after all, so I can decide which segments I want to be on my channel. So I'll figure out what I'd like to call this segment, the mental health segment, or whatever. And then every now and then I will be sharing things to do with mental health on my channel as well. I mean, my channel is beauty, lifestyle, and stuff. So yeah, I'm not really somebody who likes to vlog a lot. Someone suggested that I start doing vlogs as well, but I will see. And guys, sorry, there are just like flies everywhere. Like, why is it that the second we enter spring, flies just start? And the thing with me is that I can't be in a house and the windows are closed. I need fresh air, but now the problem is now there are just like flies everywhere. Anyways, let me stop diverting. As I was saying, leave a comment down below what you thought of this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed and you have been watching my videos, what are you doing and why are you doing that? Please make sure you hit the subscribe button. It's free. You're gonna be charged free 99. Free. It's free, okay? And don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video, okay? I'll see you guys on my next video. Until then, goodbye. Mwah.